Greetings and salutations, unfortunately for you. I'm back with another video. Um, I've been trying to figure out a way to do this uh, because it's a Charlie Kirk video. Okay, so I'm going to tell you that right now. I want you to watch. I won't hold you hostage, but I think it's relevant to the hobby because there's people in this hobby that I'm glad I don't support. There's people in this hobby that I will never support again. And there are people in this hobby that need to be deplatformed. Because while I don't have the power to change the country, and while those of us in our little niche, our little niche group don't have the power to change the country as a whole, um, only to throw in our efforts to that, we can deplatform monsters like this. Because the simple matter of fact is, as a libertarian, we operate off of the non aggression principle, meaning that you only reciprocate aggression, meaning self defense against tyrants, against home invaders, etc., against threats, people who are wanting and calling for you to be harmed in some way, shape, or form, and would celebrate that. And the eye opener is that there are many people calling for uh, people like Charlie Kirk to be killed. People that even remotely remind them of Charlie Kirk to be killed, and celebrating that. And it needs to be done away with, because the fact is, an innocent man got killed. And the fact that the thing is, a lot of this is a spiritual problem. Whether edgelord atheists want to admit it or not, most of our societal standards and judicial proceedings operate off of and even our laws operate off of the basic fact that in Scripture says that man is made in God's image, the imago Dei, and that man, as a result, has an intrinsic value placed upon him above all other creatures, not animals. Animals don't have that kind of value, that we have precedence over them, and that we have certain unalienable rights as a result. We might live differently, look differently, value different things, but just because on an individual basis we are different, we as a collective have the same amount of rights, no more, no less, and the same amount of value. Unfortunately, that kind of attitude is not reciprocated a lot. As a third partier, it's very frustrating. It's a lot better from the right now, because pre 2016 it was never reciprocated from them, at least from my experience. But after 2016, it is a lot more reciprocated. I hope the day comes that it is a Republican versus Libertarian race, and that the Democratic Party is a thing of the past. But a man can only dream, right? But be that as it may, that you have these pieces of garbage humans that there's like they fall into the same tired rhetoric. He was a literal Nazi, they say, as they espouse an economic and socio-political position that killed millions of people more times, like 6 to 8 times more than the Holocaust ever dreamed of in the 20th century. You have a group of people that want you to forget about the fact that they kill the unborn in the womb so that they could try to grandstand about your rights to bear arms. So you don't care about kids and school shootings, while they kill unborn children in the womb and shoot down every proposition that would make schools less of soft targets for schools to have some kind of defense, some kind of response team, some kind of armed law enforcement agency, anything that would require them to have the ability to fight back. They shoot down because it's not important to them. Children are not important to them. Never have been important to them. Whether you want to admit that or not, never have been important to them. That's one of the reasons why a lot of these people don't end up having kids. They adopt pets, call themselves parents because they want that kind of affectionate relationship when really all they're doing is perverting a a, a dependency relationship. The animal appreciates it, might even be affectionate, but it's not going to be the same level of love that your child is going to give you. And until people realize that and realize that an animal is not made in the image of God, humans are, and that's one of the reasons why the love of a child is much more than the love of a dog. Then there's nothing that can be fixed about people like that. They don't think right. They don't have this. They don't value the right things. They live in a perpetual state of loserhood, and they'll bring up the January 6th thing, so that they can have you forget about the fact that they burnt literal cities and homes and livelihoods to the ground. Some people still homeless. Some people do not have any more money now. Destroyed everything that they had, but they want you to forget, and so they will bring up January 6th, despite the fact that January 6th was not even remotely close to the same level of magnitude as those riots, and that the perpetrators of January 6th were prosecuted to a much harsher degree than anybody involved in those riots were, because at the end of the day, it's not about justice, it's about being able to live consequence free. And they want to bring up Charlie Kirk and comparing him with George Floyd, saying, well, George Floyd was not a father. He had kids, yes, that he had nothing to do with, because he was a junkie. That's what he was. He was a thug junkie. That's all he was. And if you are stupid enough to make that comparison, you are beyond help. You are an animal. You are not a person. And there are people in this hobby that reflect that kind of thinking and have a platform and enjoy the support of hundreds of thousands of followers or customers. And these people should be deplatformed, because actively calling for and celebrating death is a direct violation of the non-aggression principle. You cannot be a school teacher and claim to value leadership role with the lead by example and valuing knowledge and wisdom and support killing an innocent human being. You cannot be a law enforcement officer, claim to protect and serve the public, and be okay with an innocent man being killed. You cannot be a doctor or a nurse, claim to save lives, to help bring new life into the world, and to help ease the suffering of the ones that are leaving the world, and be okay with this. You cannot. It cannot be done. You do not deserve those positions, and you should not hold them, because you are dangerous. You are going to destroy somebody's life if you enjoy that kind of position, that kind of authority, and that kind of influence. It's a simple matter of fact. And I look at the situation because this young man, he was 31. I'm 36, so I'm not much older than him, but I compare myself to 5 years ago. And my girls were about the same age. So I compare it a little bit to myself, you know. The nights of, I still have them, some of them, I had a nightmare. Can I come in here and lay in your bed? Yeah, you can do that. I'm scared of the dark. The power's out. I'm scared of the dark. I'm right here. That person over there gives me the creeps. You stand right over here, kiddo. You'll be okay. Thunder's really loud outside. Come over here. Let's go play outside. Yeah, let's go play outside. I helped them build their first sandcastles when we went, because sandboxes are very much a thing of the past. There ain't no sandboxes around here. And when we went to Florida last month, you know, I helped them build their first sandcastles. Let's build a sandcastle. Yeah, let's build a sandcastle. We tried our best to do the best we could, but the younger one was always wanting to push them down because that was her fun. But you know, it was what it was. You know, we would get far enough to build the moats and the towers and stuff, and to put the fortification in the middle, and then here she come, you know, because it was the thing to do Plus, it was sugar sand too, and that kind of falls apart a little easier. So, like, the moat wasn't really that great because it didn't hold water that much, but it just was what it was. It was fun. That was the point. And even during the tornado back in May, they're scared. They're scared. It's okay. We're gonna be okay. Yeah, we're gonna be okay. And you as dad, it's really bad outside. You don't know if you're going to be, but at least y'all are together. So it'll be okay in one way or the other, you know. And then you have a man that, you know, gets killed in front of his wife and kids. And one of his daughters wanting to run to him because she heard a loud noise that scares them. And there are people okay with that. There are people that are celebrating that. There are people in this hobby celebrating that. And I'm trying not to lose my cool right now because if I know I do, I'm going to, like, if I really uncensor myself, I'm going to say all sorts of things that I cannot take back because I'll be putting it out there. Nothing that'll harm anybody, but certainly hurt a lot of feelings. I'm trying not to be that way because I'm trying to be rational and reasonable. But it infuriates me that somebody's okay with that because that says that you'd be okay with me dying in front of my children. And I don't like that at all. I will kill you before that happens. I promise you. If I find out that you're okay with that. Because I believe in defending myself and defending my children. And I will fight every tooth and nail. But, be that as it may, get back down on that level. There are people in this hobby that have too much influence, that are okay with this, and you do not need to support them anymore. You should quit supporting them. Thankfully, most of the people have not lost their minds. Even people on the left, some even on the far left, as crazy and commie as they are, find this morally reprehensible, find this horrifying. Well, thank God for that. They're inconsistent with how they're living and what they believe, but at least they haven't lost their minds and that they at least understand some manner of the value of human life. There are a lot of people that need to be excised from this hobby. A lot of people that need to be that you do not need to support anymore. And a lot of people I refuse to support anymore. And there's a lot of people that need to be deplatformed. There's a lot of soul searching that needs to go on because, look, I like playing Elf Game, but I have friends that I can play Elf Game with whenever I want. Viewership and subscription based means nothing to me, but there's a group out there that it does because it's their livelihood, and they are okay with a man being slain in front of his small kids. There are two children that no longer have a dad, and there's a wife that is a widow now that now has two children she's got to raise without that father figure. That causes more problems in the world because it shows that broken homes, statistics show broken homes where a parent is absent in one way, shape, or form, it never goes good for the kids. And if you're okay with that, you are a monster. And there are plenty of monsters in this hobby, and they're not just orcs. So, take care. God bless. And to some of you, I'll see you on the other side.